Hello YouTube, welcome to another video. You join me on the day which I'm going to be trying to set up the suspension on my E46 M3. Not something I've done before. Got a bit of experience with my new string kit, so I got a new string kit from Teguer. Used it once on the MR2. Went alright, familiarised myself with the aspect of creating a box with a string. That's one of the main things, you know. Making sure you've got your box right and then all your measurements from there should be good. So today on the M3 what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be trying to set the toe, front and rear toe, and the camber as well on the rear, because I've now got some adjustable rear arms to set that. I've got some hard race adjustable rear camber arms. The car was last aligned just before going to the Nürburgring in 2018, so just over 2 years ago. It's definitely due. It needs an alignment because I've had the rear end in many pieces and the rear alignment is way off. Okay guys, it's time for stage one. What's stage one? Well, I need to set up the box around the car. What does that mean? So what we do is we put one on the front of the car, one on the rear of the car, and then there's some channels at the end. If you'll focus, maybe you'll focus, I don't know, maybe it won't. But hopefully you can just start to see there's some channels. So these bars at the front and the rear are the same. So once we measure the centre of the wheel, we should get a nice box around it. Because these marks are the same, the front and the rear, so it gives us that square box around the car. So me do that now.
Why waste time when few words do trick?
Right, that's the car set up. If you watch my MR2 video, you know I stressed over quite a lot figuring out where to put the actual bars themselves, which is irrelevant because the only thing that you're going to be measuring, well, first of all you get the bars in a position where when you're looking on the wheel the string goes down the middle, and obviously you want that on all four corners, so that can be a bit fiddly to start with when you're positioning the bars on the car. But yeah, once you've got this box on, then it's all time to start measuring. And what you're doing is, I'm measuring off the centre cap. I've got centre caps this time, which is nice. And yeah, you're measuring the centre distance on all four corners and just giving it a twiddle here to try and get the right measurement. Now, interestingly enough, I've got to a point now where the distance between the wire and the centre of the wheel on all four corners is 64mm. So let's find out what my toe's at currently then, shall we? We can do it together. So, as you can see on the front, so we've got this wire coming through the centre of the wheel. And as I said, this distance is 64mm. Now it's going to be hard for me to show because I'd have to get right on top of the thing, so you'll have to trust what I'm saying. It might look like it's different numbers to what I'm saying, but trust me. We're going to do the rim this time as well because we used the tyre last time, it wasn't ideal. So if I put that on there, I can see that my wire goes through about 11.5mm. Just about there, because the benefit of having the wire obviously is we can rotate the ruler like so and then wait until the line strikes through and then we know exactly what the measurement is. So 11.5 there, so I would say that's just under 10, so let's say 2 mil of difference. So maybe it never was straight. I mean, you're never going to get millimetre absolutely dead on accuracies. I know them laser machines are meant to be, you know, well, the lasers, aren't they? They've got to be accurate, but let's not forget this was done 2 years ago and it's done 3 track days since then. So, you know, rumbling about on the road and, you know, the way the tyres degrade and stuff like that, that'll all affect the geometry of the car. And don't forget, we are working in millimetres. I'm going to keep saying that. So, you know, tiny little changes in the car. So, before I forget all that, let me get my whiteboard and start taking notes before we change anything. Well, I've just finished measuring my toe on the front and the rear of the car. So this is how I've written it down, this is how I'm documenting it somewhat, or this is my way of working, let's go with that one. So 64's on the inside, that's the measurement of the centre of the hub to the string. And then the measurements around it, so the front of the car obviously, so we've got the measurement from the front of the wheel to the string, and then the measurement from the rear of the wheel to the string. I've done that for all four corners. So yeah, it's the rear right, that's the big one, look at that. Massive toe difference on the rear right. Rear left somehow is straight, must have fluked that. And the front, as we know, is ever so slightly out. So I've got camber to adjust on this car as well today. We've got some brand new camber arms on the rear which definitely don't look to be doing a lot there. And perhaps the same there, a bit more camber there, a little bit more. But yeah, they're definitely uneven and the camber is not the same. Now perhaps I should have done the camber first before putting the string kit on. As you can see down that line there, yeah, I've not got much room down that line between the car to get my camber gauge in. But I'll see if I can make it work. If not, we'll just start on the toe But obviously then we'll do the tow, then we'll come back and do the camber, and then everything will be all over the shop again. So it will take a couple of goes to this. I think either way, if you do the camber first, you might have to do the tow again afterwards, obviously, but then you might have to do the camber again after you've done the tow. So who knows? We'll just start doing it and see what happens. So as we know from our numbers earlier, this side of things is pretty much square on, but it's got no camber, and then the other side is on the piss. Now the way you do these, I'm going to show you quickly. Okay, so do you remember those lovely trailing arms that I showed you in my resurrection video? So the trailing arm bolts up to the front there, and we've got these 3 bolts. Now you can't quite see from there, but the holes that those bolts go through into that clamp, they're slightly elongated, they've got a bit of movement in them. So the car is on tow plates, I'll probably get it in the centre somewhat. So what we'll do is we'll get these loose just from the car there, have this loose so we can move it around, and then take our measurements. Hopefully it'll just be a case of putting my hand under there, giving the trailing arm a tug, and then we'll be happy, I think. Just going to quickly show you what I was trying to show you before. So I've got all 3 of those bolts slackened off on the front of the trailing arm. So that's all the movement. I'm going to try and mirror what I've done on the front on the rear, but the opposite way, to go toe in on the rear. That's my plan. Now when we do the camber, we will certainly mess up the toe on the rear. We're not going to touch the camber on the front, we're only going to touch it on the rear, so we'll get to that, we'll get in there. Just wanted to show you that, it's cool, isn't it? Right, I've just finished the toe, front and rear. So I'm pretty happy with where I've got to. Got 1/2 mil of toe out on each of the front wheels, which should equate to a total of 1 out on the front. Same on the back with 1/2 mil of toe in instead of toe out, which again should equate to 1 total overall. So my toe is looking pretty good at the minute, but I need to adjust my camber, and I know for a fact that once we adjust the camber, the toe will most likely go on the piss. So I'm going to have to take the string off for this, which I don't really want to do, but I know what the measurements are. I know it should be 64 mil between the string and the hub of the wheel using that ridge that I was using, so at least I've got the measurements, you know, I don't have to work that out again. So I'll take the string off, get my camber kit out, measure the camber, and go from there. Well, things have certainly got more interesting now we started looking at camber. The front, which I thought I wasn't going to have to adjust. Yeah, I've not even started the back yet. Alright, so this is how she currently looks. Join me up here. So first off, I've got the car jacked up. This 4-post that Ed's got, honestly, it's magic. So this used to be probably an MOT test ramp or something like that before. So it's got this ramp in the middle, which is lovely. So I've got the front of the car jacked up, and that was to get to the BC Racing camber plates. So I'm just shuffling it in with my leg here. So I've jacked the car up and taken the 3 nuts off that hold the top mount to the strut tower. So on there, let me get a torch. Right, let me just tell you briefly why I'm actually doing this. So I got my toe cock on, which was lovely, but then as soon as I measured the camber, I realised that the front wasn't quite there. So I think I had 2.2 degrees on this side and 3 degrees on the other side. And I thought about leaving it, but then, you know, while I'm here, while we've got this lovely ramp off Ed for the day, so inside there, this torch doesn't seem very powerful now. But I've got my camber top plates, which you'll have seen before. You know what I'm about to show you. So there's definitely going to be a bit more time involved with this. I mean, just doing this anyway, with string yourself, you know, you're getting involved and you're doing it because you enjoy doing it, right? I mean, this is good fun. It's meticulous, and it's, I don't know if it's boring to watch or whatever, but I'm really enjoying this. This is fun. So while we're here, may as well do it. So what's my plan for these? And I thought they were maxed off on the knots, so I guess that's where we'll start. We'll max them off, see what the camber's like, and see what the toe's like as well. Drop them down. It's not going to be too bad to do. I can get into them now. I've dropped it slightly. It's a bit annoying that you've got to drop them because you can't actually get to them with the suspension being all the way up like you can in Toyota. I don't know if they're turned slightly for caster or something. I don't know what I've done, but yeah, whatever. So we'll put them on. We'll max them off on the camber rings, and then we'll see what she's saying. That gauge that I've got does actually measure caster as well. So if I do mess it up, I'll give that a quick reading and see what we're at. I'm not sure what we should be at for here. maybe 6.5, 7 degrees or something like that. That's caster's not something I've played with either, so not too sure, but yeah, I've just thought I'd let you know what I'm on with. I've not even started the back yet, but front's on with it. S54 though, yep. Well, I'm just about there with it now. So I've set the camber on all 4 corners. On the front, I only did it on one side, which was this side, the driver's side. So what I did was I tried to get it in a line with what the passenger side was reading. So after doing that, I had to set the toe again. And I've done that on the rear by adjusting the trailing arm like I showed you earlier. And on the front, now because I've adjusted this side, the toe went quite drastically the other way. So on my little stool under here with them lights going. And yeah, it's going alright this. I could do with one of these ramps, you know. It's nice to have use of. This is probably one of the most relaxing things I've done on a car ever. Better than MR2 job. Got 14 and 12.5 the other way now. So 1.5 mil a toe out. So gone too far. Fucking way she goes. This is the first time I've had to use this today. Bit stiff. But I've got my toe set now, front and rear. Back to how I had it before I changed the camber. What I'm going to do now is take the string kit off, and I'm going to take the camber as it is what it is. Because I've been here a long time now, and I'm not getting fed up by any means. I'm quite enjoying myself. It's been nice to do, but I'm just going to call it because I can keep playing with it all day. I think to try and perfect it, but you know, it's in the green zones on the computer, on the laptop behind there. You know, it's all in the green zones. So I turned the spanners until it went green. So she should be all right. But yeah, I'll get what the camber is, and I'll be upfront about it, and I'll tell you exactly what it is, because yeah, you know, there's never any bullshit anyway, right? But I'm hoping it's going to be something like, because see, I've adjusted the toe, then the camber, and then the toe again. Don't tell me that people who do this out of fun or for maybe no one does it. There must be some people out there who do it for fun. I'm doing it for fun, so there must be some other people. But you know, race teams. What's your order? Am I going to have to do camber? I'm not going to do it, by the way. We'll take it as it comes. Anyway, so yeah, I'll get my strings off, do the camber, write it on my whiteboard. Done. That's it now. I just need to tighten my suspension up at the back, and you know, make sure that's tight now that the car's obviously on all 4 and the geometry's all set. Do up my trailing arm bolts and have a good old tidy up, because I've got quite a lot of spanners and stuff out. Okay, so I'll see you when I've tidied up. Right chaps, that's bring us to the end for today. Car's driving good, straight enough, seems to be. So MOT next, that's what it needs now. Good MOT. I need to put handbrake on it actually. Bane of my fucking life, handbrakes, but what can you do? Yeah, hope you enjoyed watching today's video. Nice to have the M3 driving again. It's obviously I've not taken the piss before anyone starts, man, but it's going well. They all know a good thing, man. That's it, don't you? You all know what's good. You can just hear the S54. Yeah, it's because it doesn't have hydraulic tappets. You've got to set them. You've got to do the valve clearances yourself. That's why it sounds a bit. Yeah, I've not done it for a while. So fucking hell, I need to get away. They're all coming. Right, so that's all from today then. Didn't expect to spend so long setting up the suspension on the car, but definitely worth it in the end. Or you know, based on 3.3 miles, worth it. I know the M3's back in that. Listen, right? I know the M3's back, and I know you're all really excited to see it. But if I'm not careful, you're going to bust through that gate, so I'm going to leave. Right, until next time.